Anyway, I sort of got the point from yesterday, and I'm going to try this again. Ready? There's a picture of me taking a picture of me taking a picture of me taking a picture of me. A picture of a picture of a picture of a picture. Here we go. Now we are going around to the laws. Okay, there are a few things we didn't do. This year is not going to be a Shemitah year. I understand that next year is going to be a Shemitah. Not next year, the year after next. Tavshin, pay base is going to be a Shemitah year. Next year is not a Shemitah. If it was, then you'd have to make a Prusbul. We're not going to do a Prusbul. Some people fast. Erev Rosh Hashanah till after Mincha. Anyway, they fast not the whole day because you can't go into Rosh Hashanah fasting, miserable. Some people go to the graves of tzaddikim, the graves of tzaddikim. There are tzaddikim in Israel. Maybe you can go to Marat HaMachpelah. Wonderful. I haven't been there in a long time, actually. Okay. The whole day before Rosh Hashanah, you should. Oh, maybe I'll do it this way. This is better? Huh? Maybe. Is it clear? All the day you should work at learning Torah, doing commandments. Can you see what I'm doing or not? Can anybody see this? Maybe I should just read the laws and that's it. Huh?
I can see it, but I really can't read it.
Can't read it. It's too fuzzy. All right. Bad idea. I'm going to read what it says. Law number chet. Let me just go back. I'll just do it to me. 1 second. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This is from the book Shvach HaMoadim. I advise you to buy it if you can. It's very good. Shvach HaMoadim. No, maybe this is better. Is it better? Maybe. Oh, all day you should try the day before. We're talking about Friday. All day you should work at Torah, commandments, fixing up anything that you have to fix up between you and friends. You have a little argument with people, call them up. Don't wait until Yom Kippur in order to request forgiveness for anybody. You should say a lot of Tehillim. Now we're going to talk about saying Tehillim. It's our custom in Chabad to say Tehillim, Psalms, every free moment. You can't say them in Hebrew. Say a little bit in Hebrew, say them in English. But still you should say Psalms as much as possible. Try to finish the whole book at least once if you can in the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. You should say Tehillim on this day and do tshuva. Try to come closer to God. Request forgiveness on the things that weren't good that you did between you and Hashem. That in order when you get to the prayer of evening, the beginning, the first prayer of Rosh Hashanah, the evening prayer, Arvit, as you will be totally clean. It's good to accept on yourself some sort of a hidur mitzvah, an extra commandment, or to do something a little bit more special. Pray a little bit longer, maybe a little bit better tefillin, maybe check your tefillin more. By the way, this month, you should try to get your tefillin checked. If not now, then as soon as you can. Good idea. Okay, now, I don't know if we said this before, but we should have in the prayer. Here it is, Dalet. This is Dalet here. Dalet. After the prayer on the morning, Friday morning, the day before Rosh Hashanah, the custom is to get 10 people together and say Hatarat Nedarim. Right? I think we went over this already. We talked about this. Try to get 10 Jews together, and you'll see it's written in the Siddur. Say it in English if you don't understand it. Say it in English if you don't understand it. At least translate it before you say it. Very important to do. Okay, next. Law number 9. Like this, maybe this is better. Here we go. Huh? Law number 9. Okay, where are we? Here. You should wash all your clothes, take a haircut before Friday for the honor of Yom Tov. Some people say, you should be very careful to get a haircut if you're going to get a haircut before noon, Friday noon. Go to the mikveh. You should put on garments of Shabbat, good, beautiful garments, to show that we are certain that God will have kindness on us and he will judge us favorably. Try to give charity. Yishtadel, you should try to give charity to poor people before Rosh Hashanah. At least put it in the charity box and make an oath that you're going to give it later to them. All right, let me just read this to you. It's a bit troublesome. People who are accustomed to give charity every day, and then they should on Erev Rosh Hashanah, you should give for the sake of 2 days. Also, this year for the same thing. The days when it comes out that Rosh Hashanah comes out on Thursday and Friday and Shabbos, then give for 3 days. Okay, here you don't have to make an Erev Tavshilin this year. Okay, now when lighting candles, the custom is to light candles on the first night of Rosh Hashanah before the sun sets. We're talking about even if it doesn't fall on Shabbat. Now it falls on Shabbat. For sure you have to light the candles before the holiday comes in. And you make a blessing. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel yom hazikaron. To light the candle of the day of remembrance, that God remembers us. And then after that, you make the blessing shechianu. Usually the women light the candles. If there are no women in the house, then men have to light it. If you're in some place where there are no women, then men have to light it. If Rosh Hashanah comes to be an Erev Shabbos, then you bless Baruch atah Hashem lahadlik ner shel Shabbos v'shel yom hazikaron. That's going to be this year. So you say Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat v'shel yom hazikaron. That's what you're going to do this Friday night. With Shabbos night, when Rosh Hashanah and Shabbat coincide. Then afterwards make the blessing shechianu. Right, now, the second night of Rosh Hashanah, you have to light the candles after the holiday comes in. This year for sure, because you can't light candles on Shabbat. And you make also a blessing shechianu on the second night as well. So on the second night of Rosh Hashanah, we don't light before night comes in like we did on the first night. Rather, we light after the night has already entered. And the first night, also being Shabbat, has gone out. And then you light the candles and make the blessing Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kijanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, l'adlik ner yom hazikaron, shel yom hazikaron, and also shechianu. I made shechianu on the first day. So it says, therefore, if it's possible, it's a good thing to put on a new garment, or at least to put a new fruit, because you can make blessing a shechianu on a fruit, even if you just see it, not only if you eat it. And to have intention that when you make the blessing shechianu on the garment, you're also intending on the garment of the fruit, but you don't have to do it. It's not the blessing shechianu. You make even if there is no garment, new garment, or new fruit, or whatever, etc. Okay, mincha. This is the last mincha of the year, so therefore you should try to pray mincha with as much intention as possible. Of course, you don't say tachanun. Before mincha, you say everything like regular. Now, this is one more law, very important. Law number chet. I'm sorry, this is law number hey. Yes. Where is it? What's going on? My finger's not here. There it is. Here. B'shnei Yemei Rosh Hashanah, the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, Misha Achat, beginning 1 hour before Mincha, Erev Rosh Hashanah, until the evening prayer of Motzi Rosh Hashanah. There was 2 days. You should be constantly saying Tehillim, day and night. Day and night. With tremendous, constancy. Key, because on the 2 days of these, we have to be very, very careful not to speak any, mundane words. If you have guests and you have to talk, so you can talk, but you should try not, and to have as little sleep as possible. Of course, don't get so little sleep that you fall asleep in the middle of davening. You should increase prayer, requesting God from the depth of your heart. Every moment free, you should say Psalms. Very important. One reason is the Psalms come from King David. And King David was the king. King David, he was the predecessor, can't remember the word, for Mashiach. He was the prototype of Mashiach. The Rambam says David HaMelech was the first Mashiach, and the second Mashiach will be Mashiach ben David. The custom is not to smoke on Rosh Hashanah. Don't even smoke privately. You can. It's permissible to smoke on Rosh Hashanah. It is definitely permissible to smoke on Rosh Hashanah. You're not allowed to light a match, but you can light it from a fire that's already existing. But our custom in Chabad is not to smoke on Rosh Hashanah, not even in private. And it should be that people who consider themselves to be connected to the Torah should be careful about this, and also try to convince others the same thing. All right, the evening prayer. Now, we've talked already when we learned the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, we learned about all these additions that we make in the prayers of Rosh Hashanah. And I pointed them out to you also. But you'll go through your siddur and you'll see. Basically, the most important one is that instead of saying Hakel HaKadosh, right? Ata Kadosh, Shem HaKadosh, Kadeshim Chol Yichol Sel, Baruch Atah Hashem, Hakel HaKadosh. That's what we say every year, the whole year, right? Well, on Rosh Hashanah, and not just on Rosh Hashanah, beginning Rosh Hashanah, the whole 10 days, it's called the 10 days of Tshuva. including Yom Kippur, we do not say El HaKadosh, Akel HaKadosh. We don't say it. We say HaMelech HaKadosh. And if you did say El HaKadosh, you have to go back to the beginning of davening, to the very beginning of everything. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu v'Elokei Avosenu, Elokeinu. That's the really important one. You have to go back to the beginning of davening. But then there's four or five other additions that are also very important to say. So you should look at your siddur before and decide what these things are, locate them, these additions, and be careful to say them. Remember, please, to translate your siddur. Remember to translate every word. Very important. All right, we already talked about making kiddush the first night, right? And then we make kiddush. The Baal Abayas says Shechianu. If a woman makes kiddush on her own, she should not say Shechianu because you already said it. What's this over here? 1 second. Yeah, because she already said it previously. What's this going on over here? 1 second. Just give me a second over. Because she already said it previously when she lit the candles. Oh. All right. So we wash our hands, we dip the bread in honey, and then we say this sentence about, may it be your will, God. We don't say God's name. May it be your will before you that we should have a new, sweet, good year. And then we eat the apple. And then we take a pomegranate and we eat it. We take a head of a fish and we eat it. But our custom is we don't say Yehi Ratzon. The Sephardim do. We talked about that before. We don't say Yehi Ratzon. Okay. Kiddush on the second night. On the second night, we said, again, you make Shechianu the second night. When you make Kiddush the second night, if you can, put a new fruit there or put a new garment, but it's not necessary. Just like the woman when she lights the candles on the second night. But if you do have a new fruit there, then you should eat it immediately after Kiddush, even before you wash your hands. Understand? The first night, the first thing you make Kiddush, you wash your hands, and you eat bread. That's the first thing you do. Then you eat the apple, you do all those things. The second night, if you have a new fruit, then you make Kiddush and you eat that new fruit, or at least some of it. And then you wash your hands. Okay, this night, the second night of Rosh Hashanah is going to be Motzi Shabbos. So we're going to have to say Havdalah. So we say it all together. You make Kiddush and Havdalah together. And this is what's called Yak Nahaz. Yak Nehaz. What's Yak Nahaz? It's abbreviation. Yud is Yayin, wine. Kiddush. Right? Kiddush. Then we make a blessing on the candle. Then we make Haz, Havdalah and Zman. Havdalah, and then when we finish that, we make Shechianu. Shechianu, because you make Shechianu the second night also, right? Rosh Hashanah. Shechianu, So we make wine, kiddush, ner on the candle, havdalah, and zman. Yak nahaz. Yain, kiddush, ner, havdalah, zman. That's the second night kiddush that you make. Second night. Because we're going out of Shabbos. And we're going into the second day of Rosh Hashanah. When we make Birkat HaMazon, you have to be careful all the time to say Ya'aleh v'Yavo. If it falls on Shabbos, then you also have to say Ratzei v'Achlitzenu. What if you forgot? You didn't say you didn't say Ratzei on the Birkat HaMazon on Shabbat, Rosh Hashanah, or you didn't say Ya'aleh v'Yavo on either days of Rosh Hashanah. Or even if you have a doubt, then if you finished Birkat HaMazon, you have to go back to the beginning. If you remember somewhere in the middle, before, right, then there's sometimes when you can say what you forgot. You'll have to look up at the laws and see what this is. You can add on. Look up the laws and see what it is. If you forgot to say Ratzei, or you forgot to say Ya'aleh v'Yavo. There's one part of the Birkat HaMazon, if you haven't begun the last blessing yet, and there's 4 blessings in Birkat HaMazon, right? So if you haven't begun the 4th blessing, then you can make up, there's a little make-up blessing that you can say, that you can make up any mistakes that you made before the 4th blessing. Look and you'll see. Okay, the prayers of Shacharis. We've already done this. We did this already. Reading the Torah, we read about, right in the end of Parshas Lech Lecha, about the birth of Yitzchak and the Akedah of Yitzchak. After that, we sound the shofar. Before the Shliach Tzibur, or the one who sounds the shofar, before he sounds the shofar, he makes 2 blessings. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kitzanu b'mitzvos v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar. Everyone says Amen. And then he says the blessing Shechianu. After you say Amen to these 2 blessings, you should not speak any more. Don't interrupt with speech for anything except for the Ratzons that you'll say after the sounding of the shofar. But you don't say any speech whatsoever until after the Musaf prayer is finished. Like I said before, about an hour. Keeping silent. You do not speak. Why? Because in the Musaf prayer is also sounded the shofar, and some people say that the blessing goes on those. The sounding of the shofar that you're going to listen to is about 3 times as long as what I'm sounding every day. Right? That's how Chabad does it. Chabad sounds Tashrat, Tashat, Tarat. We sound those 3. Well, the mitzvah to sound shofar is to sound what I do in the morning, but to do each one 3 times. So you go the, and then again do that 3 times. Then you do the 3 times, and the 3 times. And that you have to have intention to do, and we'll go over that, see what that is. Do not speak until after the prayers of Musaf. We said it's good to have somebody stand next to the one who's sounding the shofar, and he should point so the one sounding the shofar remembers where he is, he doesn't get confused. Small children that have reached the age of education, it is a mitzvah to bring them to shul. And also to tell them clearly, to warn them that they should listen to the sounding of the shofar, to educate them in commandments. But if they're so small that they're just going to make noise, don't bring them to shul. I remember there was one year that I sounded the shofar in some place. I was the one who sounded the shofar. And the kids were like really wild in this place. They were just really. And so they tried to get them out of shul, but the kids, some of them would leave and they wouldn't leave. And I realized there was just no point. So I said, okay, all the kids come into the shul. All the kids, everyone, the wildest of the wild, the craziest of the crazy, everyone at the shul, and you'll sit in the front row on the ground right in front of me, and I'll sound the shofar. I think maybe 5 minutes. All the kids came in, and they were quiet. They were like hypnotized by it. And they listened to the sounding of the shofar. None of them made any noise whatsoever. So I don't know if it's a lesson in education or it's a lesson in the power of the shofar, but in any case, it definitely did work. So the children were really impressed. And that's the little child inside of us that's also very impressed by the sound of the shofar. The custom is that after the one sounding the shofar finishes sounding, he goes back to his place, he sits down, facing the crowd, and they look at him. That's the custom. As we'll talk about more, God willing, next week. God bless you all. And okay.